Hello and welcome to our Retire Early lifestyle. Let's get right into the conversation. But first, a little background. We spent 13 years living and traveling abroad, made thousands of videos about it, and brought our entire family with us. We've shared many of those experiences and memories with our viewers, and sometimes people tell us our videos are just too negative, but let us explain. In 2024, Italy received approximately 57.9 million visitors. Spain welcomed about 93.8 million visitors, and France had around 102 million visitors. I don't know about you, but does it sound like these countries need one more vlogger to promote them? It's as if the only thing that is possible in this space is nothing but the status quo. And yet when we shop around for a new car, or even an older one, we look at all of the reviews. We go to the forums and we check to see how long these cars last, how many miles you can get out of them, what kind of problems they're likely to have, and which years and models to stay away from because they aren't worth the money. But when it comes to the subject matter of living, retiring, or moving abroad, somehow we're just supposed to tell everyone that every single car is a wonderful car without any problems that will last the rest of your life and is worth every penny, is comfortable, dependable, and you should not wait any longer. You should just buy one right away without doing any further research. How does that sound to you? It's not that we're being negative, but where is the balance in the travel and move abroad movement? Think of us as your consumer watchdog for the travel, live abroad movement. All we're doing is balancing out the hype and the promotion to give our viewers a more balanced view of what to expect. A few vloggers are stating the obvious negatives, but in a way that kinda sorta sweeps the negatives under the rug, like they're not a big deal. Not a big deal. Tell that to the person that is going through a challenging time in another country. Being an expat is not easy. It's not a big deal when the transmission goes out on the car you just purchased, or the electronics stop working, or it needs an entire engine overhaul after a couple of years. Or is it? We want you to partake in your dreams and move to your favorite country. Some people get it and they don't move to areas that are getting heavily promoted, and they keep their little paradise a secret. That's recommended nowadays, not just for self-preservation, but for the preservation of the local people. We've always said on this channel, find your inexpensive hideaway and don't promote your city, town, or village you move to.
When I was living in a village in Italy, it was the most beautiful place in the world. Angie keeps telling me that's the most beautiful place you have ever taken me, Frank. And every place has its thing that you fall in love with. And so a lot of times you will find these hidden areas, lower cost of living areas that people will shun because of some sort of statistic that doesn't apply to your desire to live somewhere.
That's how to do it. The minute you start making videos and telling people where you moved and how wonderful everything is, more and more people will show up, and well, we all know the rest of the story. In 2019, we moved to a small village on the Italian coast. We were the only Americans living there, and it was wonderful. The people were so warm and welcoming. Frank speaks Italian, and we were able to rent a beautiful apartment at the local rate of 300 euros, which at that time was 340 US dollars. We shopped at the Mercado on the weekends and negotiated with the sellers, and they loved it. Our cost of living was very low for a family of 4. We totally lived like the local Italians.
And so every country has that lower cost of living area, and your job is to find it. And so that would mean staying out of all of the places where everybody else goes. You know, the financial part was your stumbling block. Milan, you know, people have to go to Milan, you know, spend $2,000, $3,000 a month in rent. You can do that, you know. A lot of business people make big bucks. They go there, they do that, and they sprinkle people with huge deposits and lose. I've seen people lose over $10,000, you know, just being scammed from a landlord. This is not necessarily some wild international scammer. It's just a landlord that has figured out how to bilk foreigners. It happens. But that won't happen to us because we're going to a lower cost of living area. So we're going to find our low cost of living area within an area that's normally understood to be a high cost of living area, which Western Europe is. The way to figure out if we can live somewhere on Social Security is to see how much are people earning. And so if the locals are earning, for example, the average factory worker in Italy makes 400 euros a week. Now there are those that work in skilled technology jobs that make 4,000 euros a month or more. But for the worker class, they're making 400 euros a week. And so there has to be areas where these people live. And they have to be able to live there. And if they can live there, you can live there. And you can utilize some of the principles that I talk about in my other videos on getting your semi-passive or mostly passive income, so you don't have to wait until your Social Security kicks in. But if you're already there at Social Security, that's fine too.
Economically, we blended in quite well with the community, but they knew we were foreigners and they treated us just fine because nothing changed drastically for them. We minded our own business and they minded theirs. We weren't there to buy property and resell it for profit. The bottom line, we moved into town without a splash, so to speak, and we lived there without a splash, just the way we like it. We made videos about our La Dolce Vita, and our viewers were amazed at our lovely, inexpensive Italian apartment, and they saw the great views of the sea from the seaside village located high up on a hill. Everyone in the comments wanted to know the name of the village we lived in. It was tempting to tell them, but we never ever divulged the name of the village, and we never will, because we may want to go back there again someday in the future. Why ruin a good thing for yourselves? If you've got a good, comfortable spot on the map and you like the people and it seems to be working well for you, don't divulge your whereabouts or you'll be sorry. The people in this lovely Italian village are doing just fine financially. There are mercatos every weekend with inexpensive household items, shoes, clothing, electronics, and clean, fresh food and meat that is abundant because Italy grows much of their own food. There is no homelessness and everyone gets along with each other because everyone knows each other. It's a tight-knit community and the people are wonderful. Could you imagine if a slew of foreigners moved into this quaint village and started buying up property and the prices started shooting up with rentals going to the moon because they'll only rent to other foreigners? It would be devastating for the local folks in that village community. And by the way, the smaller the town or village or city, the quicker prices start inching up into no man's land. Seriously, it only takes a handful of foreigners in these small towns to start wreaking havoc on prices. Here's another short story for you. When we first moved to Ecuador, we were all excited about everything. It was all so new. It was like being on a perpetual vacation. And yes, we were making videos hyping up Cuenca, Ecuador at first, until we saw the consequences of that. We were just getting our feet wet with living abroad after all. After about 6 months, we started telling it like it is, and from then on, we haven't stopped showing people the real skinny.
They say when in Rome, do as the Romans. So let me show you what I got here out of a Gringo Press just for today. I just read this in the Gringo Press today. 3 bedroom, 3 bath house, $270,000. Apartment for rent, $700. Apartment for rent, $900 a month. And this is in a land with a GDP per capita, household income of $8,000 a year. So what are we doing? Well, we're here in Rome doing as the Romans. We're a family of 5. We live on less than $1,000 a month, and we rent a house for $250 a month.
How many bedrooms?
3 bedroom plus office.
And how many bathrooms?
3 bathrooms. We're enjoying ourselves, and
Our videos are a crucial part of the equation of moving abroad, because without showing you the consequences of what crowds can do when they manifest themselves in these cheaper countries, many people won't know. What you saw happen to Idaho in just 3 years, or what happened to Florida in 3 years, that's what is happening abroad, but at a much more devastating level, because the income disparities are so huge. The Portugal people got it when they said, "Californians, please go home." They didn't say, "Americans, please go home," although it was perceived as such in many expat circles. We're talking Californians that are used to earning more than $100,000 a year, selling their homes for $1 million or more, and moving to a little tiny country where they only make $900 to $1,200 a month, and the properties and rentals used to reflect that. Not anymore, as you can imagine. Portugal's property prices in Lisbon have almost gone to California levels. It's too late for Californians to please go home. The rich get richer and the poor get poorer, as the saying goes. It's true. Lisbon is no longer what it used to be for the locals that were born and raised there. It belongs to the wealthy foreigners now. But Portugal has many quaint nooks and crannies where you can still find a great cost of living. But remember, don't tell anyone. But I digressed a little bit. Let's get back to Ecuador. When we moved to Ecuador in early 2011, YouTube was only like 3 or 4 years old, and most people were still into blogging, not vlogging. And so when we started making videos along with a couple of other American bloggers doing the same, it started a huge stampede of traffic coming to Cuenca. Many people told us it was because of our videos the reason they moved to Cuenca. And then Cuenca started getting more and more expats moving there, and the prices for rents rose significantly just in 2 years. And after the 3rd year, in some places, especially the neighborhoods that expats liked, the rent shot up 3 times as much. We saw $500 rentals shoot up to $1,200 in just 3 years. The Mercado became a tourist attraction, and other gringos were providing shopping tours of the largest Mercado in Cuenca, which many expats really went for because they also wanted to save money on groceries. But the inevitable happened. Can you guess what happened? The Mercado got more expensive than the nicest, cleanest store in Cuenca, Ecuador, called Super Maxi. We made several videos about it. It was devastating to the local community who relied on the Mercado for their household shopping. It also spiked petty crime levels around the Mercado. Expats were getting robbed left and right. One day an Ecuadorian left us a message that was concerning. He wanted us to quit making videos about his beloved Cuenca and about how cheap everything is because it was causing too many people to move there and raising prices on everything. We're in Park Calderon in Cuenca, Ecuador. This video is about an Ecuadorian who commented on our blog, on our HM Family Life channel. He wanted to let us know that even though we gringos come to their country, and what happens is we think everything is cheap. We think that you can buy 10 oranges for $1 and it's cheap. But it's not for the people that have to live here. He specifically had mentioned as an example that we just raving up and down about how we bought some fresh basil for 50 cents for a huge big bunch, and he said that for us that's not that cheap, you know. And so I wanted to talk about that a little bit.
So apparently some locals are writing in and saying that the gringos are ruining Cuenca and the rest of Ecuador because it's getting really expensive because there's all these rich gringos and they pay $1 or 50 cents for basil and it's not worth that. It's only worth like 10 cents, huh?
We come here and say, oh, what a great price all this food is, but to them it's not a really great price. It's just a regular price, and that's what hires prices.
Gringos are just being gringo-y, huh?
Well, you know, they say, when in Rome, do as the Romans. Well, when you're in Ecuador, you should do as the Ecuadorians. And this is why we are not that enthusiastic about helping to raise prices and possibly displace people from their homes. It's something we decided not to do years ago, and we're sticking with that decision. There are many people who do not like what we have to say, but we're not here to please the crowd. We're here to offer our viewers the insights and information they need to make a more informed decision about their move abroad. We're sort of a consumer watchdog vlog for the retirement industry. You can call us whiners, you can call us negative, you can call us cheap, but nothing will change the facts of what we're all now seeing happening to people around the globe because of shameless and biased promotion. Thanks for listening. Have a great day. Be blessed. Bye-bye.